So now you all should see my screen and see the Event Farm app. But before we get started here, I want to start with kind of a high-level overview of the Event Farm offline mode app and talk about some of the exciting features in it before we kind of dive into that. So to start off, some of you may know me. My name's Alex Lidoff. I'm on the client services team here at Event Farm. And I'm also joined by my colleague, Nick Dean. He was the lead project manager on the offline mode project. A lot of you, including some of the people on this call, have asked for this feature, and we're really excited that it's finally up there, and now that you guys can start deploying it at your events. So with that said, what are the benefits of offline mode? Well, the number one benefit is pretty obvious, and that is you don't need internet to be able to check guests in on the Event Farm app anymore when using offline mode. And so that's the big one. Let's say you have an event at an outdoor location, there's no Wi-Fi close, and on your devices you don't have 3G. Offline mode's your go-to. Or let's say you're, at the basement of a venue, or the bottom floor, and there's no even 3G there. You can still use offline mode. Or even if you are using online mode and your internet goes down for a few minutes, Event Farm now has you covered. And so we're really excited about this, obviously. And it also can help get you off paper lists. As fun as all those are, that data when you're done with the event, how do you get it off that list and, what is it, manually put it into Excel or Event Farm or wherever you want it to go? That's obviously kind of a painstaking process. Now with the Event Farm app, all you have to do is at the very end of your event before you shut down, connect to internet, and all that gets synced with the cloud, everything you've done while you're in offline mode. And that all integrates into the Event Farm backend with all the same reporting and tracking and everything like that. And you can still, when you're in the app, search for guests easily, check them in easily. No more navigating through, or flipping through those pages of Excel lists looking for names. You can keep the line moving and, stay efficient. So with that said, I want to dive into the demo now. So you'll see my iPhone up here on the screen, and this is actually the live version of Event Farm. If you went to the App Store and downloaded it today, which I just did, this is what you get. So I'm going to go ahead and select my company. And you see we have a lot of events, and I'm just going to select mine. We're going to go down to this check-in demo. And you'll see there's now this check-in app, and this is normal Event Farm, and you can navigate it, search as you normally would. Now if we go to this little gear button up at the top, the settings button, you'll see this gives us all our settings, and one of them, the one at the very top, is offline mode. So if you go ahead and turn that on, it gives you a little message. You're entering offline mode. So we're just going to go ahead and click OK, and we're going to go back to the guest list. Now up at the very top, you'll see there's a little pulsing red bar that says we're in offline mode. And that's how you know. And you'll see nothing's really changed here. You can still view and edit guests. I can still check people in. I can still, at the very bottom, you'll see I can still add guests, everything like that. And if I try and leave, you'll see it warns me that if I leave, I'm going to lose my information. So of course I don't want to do that, so I'm going to cancel. And you can come in here and do everything you need to do. And then when you're done, you'll want to get somewhere where there's internet connection before you exit the app. You can still put the phone to sleep, but you don't want to completely shut down the app, your device, or shut down the app. And then when you turn offline mode off, you'll see all changes have been made while in offline mode and have been synced to the server. So everything I just did is now synced up in the back end of Event Farm. If there are any other devices that have access to internet, the people I checked in now will be checked in on those devices, and you didn't have to do anything. When you go back online and turn offline mode off, it syncs all that up. And so it's really that simple and that straightforward. Now, the question becomes, now, as you guys know, we like to talk about how does this make your guys as event planners, how does this make your life easier? So there's a couple obvious benefits and a couple obvious ways to deploy this. This can power your entire check-in scenario. You just have to make sure that you're using it in the right situation. So if you have an event that's you have 10 iPads and 5 different check-in locations, you're probably going to need internet there. There's not really a way around that. But let's say you have just 2 or 3 iPads and one check-in location, or you might even be using just one iPad. Offline mode is certainly practical. That's something you can use in those situations. And the thing to keep in mind here is that since there's no internet, the iPads or iPhones or what have you aren't talking to one another. So if you have 2 locations where you're checking people in and I show up and I get checked in, Nick could go to the other location and I wouldn't be showing up as checked in until these iPads sync up. So a good rule of thumb is if you could get away with using paper lists, you can use the app. You can use this app and it's probably a good fit for that scenario. Um, Now, as event planners, you have to ask yourself, are kind of, is it okay that these aren't synced up, on a minute by minute basis? And if so, then this is a good fit for you. But one thing that it also can help with is, let's say your internet goes down in your event. You can quickly switch to offline mode, keep the line moving, and then once internet's back up, you can put them all back online. And the minute each iPad's online, it syncs up with the server, and it's going to pull all that up-to-date information. So that's guest checked in, guest added, everything like that. And the other thing to consider is if you're using check-in staff, be sure that you make them aware of this. And if you're going to be in offline mode, let them know that, A, what that means, and B, to not exit the app. You can still put the device to sleep, but to not exit it, because we obviously don't want to lose that data. That data is valuable, and so you don't want to run into any problems there. So that's a big thing there as well. Now, the final thing is just to also remember that if things ever get busy at your event, and this isn't an offline mode thing, this is just in general, be sure you have Event Farm downloaded on your phones. Sometimes people forget and they're using their iPads that if things get busy, we have iPhone and Android apps. You can always pull it out, and if you've set these up with offline mode beforehand and downloaded your whole list before you go into offline mode, then you can even start using your phone to check people in if things ever get busy, things like that. So those are the little things that you can do to make your event and your check-in run a little bit more smoothly.